What drives us to do the things that we do? What's the motivating factor that gets us out of bed in the morning ready to conquer the day before us? The Oxford English Dictionary defines ambition as a strong desire to achieve something or the determination to be successful. However, can ambition be a bad thing? To what ends should we be ambitious? After leaving Egypt to the Negev, Abram found himself very wealthy thanks to the conviction of the kings of these territories and thanks to the grace of God. Along with Abram traveled his nephew Lot. Once arriving at Bethel, it became clear that they would not be able to sustain both their herds of livestock on the resources available. These two tribes of men began to bicker over this very issue. So to resolve the issue, Abram suggested Lot go make his own way in a new area to allow for better pastures for Lot's livestock and to ease the demand on the land Abram was currently occupying. This gave Lot the opportunity to make his own stake and declare himself a nation in the same way Abram was doing. He can now focus on his family and share the wealth that he had gathered through his shared experiences with Abram. However, this was not the desire of Lot's heart. Lot instead went to cities to rely upon the commerce found there. We see this as evident when the writer of Genesis tells us Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tent near Sodom. Not only did Lot move closer to the city known for its sinful and wicked behavior, but he pitched his tent towards the city, showing the desire of his heart. He desired to belong to this city and to share in its possibility of wealth that came along with its citizenship. This ultimately cost Lot greatly. He and his families became prisoners of war. Then the wicked men of Sodom would potentially cause harm and trauma to his daughters, and finally these desires would cost Lot's wife her life. Much like Lot, our ambitions can cause us great harm if we do not keep them in check. Lot allowed his greed and his sinful desires to control his ambition, which led him to make poor decisions. Instead of following the example Abram had set, at least in part, Lot did not make himself independent and separate from the evils of the world, but embrace them. We are faced with the same decisions today. We can go after the get-rich-quick schemes. We can praise the almighty dollar with our pursuit of fame and fortune, or we can focus on how to provide for those around us in the ways God approves of. And that would allow us to grow stronger in character and closer to our Creator. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." It is clear that ambition is not by itself a bad thing. However, when our moral compass is not aligned to a true north, we can find ourselves quickly lost in the sea of the wicked and sinful world around us, trying to impersonate the world instead of being a light that shines in its darkness. The wisest man to have ever existed, Solomon, said, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." And in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, "Seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and He will give you everything you need." If we put God first in our lives and dedicate our actions to Him, we will know wealth unlike the wealth the world knows. Maybe not in monetary value, but in the wholeness of the fulfillment of our everyday lives. And that is far more valuable than anything money can buy. So be ambitious, but ambitious in your pursuit of God and the truth. Please continue to follow along with me as we learn more about the truth of God and the treasures it brings. May God keep you and bless you. Really quick, before you go, let me explain why I felt led to start this channel. When talking to Pilate, Jesus said, "I have come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Pilate responds by asking, "What is the truth?" It's evident that a lot of people are still asking this question almost 2,000 years later. And while we live in an amazing time with the wealth of the world's knowledge available in the palm of our hands, there's often too much information, leaving people unable to process what's true and what's not true. Paul describes such times in this way when he writes his second letter to his disciple Timothy. Always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. There are several who expound on what truth is, but often they are misguided, or they are malice in their intent, or they're being intellectually dishonest. My hope is that I am able to provide evidence for why the scriptural narrative is true, a contextual and practical explanation of the principles found in its writings, and a defense for other believers. As Peter explains, you should always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. If you find value in this channel as I do, there are a few ways you can help, both by gifting and without spending any money. First, react and interact with these videos wherever you're watching from. This greatly helps the channel be seen by others and new people. Next, please share this content with others you feel may benefit from the information found here. Also, please subscribe to this channel on all social media. And finally, if you feel led to, and if you have the means to, please consider giving to this channel through the outlets previously mentioned, or the channel's Patreon. All these links are going to be in the video description. Thank you for watching, and may God keep you and bless you.